Afternoon, ladies and gents. Mr. Pickerin here with today's geography lesson. Hope everyone's keeping safe and well. Before we kick off, just a couple of admin bits to go through. Just hopefully answer a couple of questions that people have had about Go for Schools, OneNote, Teams, etc. So number one, all work is always going to be set on Go for Schools. So always go there, make that your first port of call. Number two, specific work, when it's completed, I will specifically say hand it in through the assignments tab within Teams. Otherwise, to hand it back to me, what you need to do is within the class notebook accessible through Teams is find your own section, and you can copy and paste it there, insert it, whatever type of file, picture, etc. All of that can go in there, and then we can store it and keep it in one place together. Number four, all previous work documents are on Teams under the Files tab. So if you can't get hold of a PowerPoint from a previous lesson or any sort of document, you should be able to go there within your class team, Files section, Lesson 1, 2, 3, etc. and it will have all the previous documents for you. Number five, if you're ever stuck on anything, any questions, please just send me a direct message on Teams. That's the quickest way to get hold of me rather than emails. Or if it's just a general question, you can put it in the general channel of your class team. Number six, completely optional, but if possible, I would recommend downloading the free app version of Teams and the free app version of OneNote rather than using the web browser version. They're a little bit easier to use. They offer just a few more options in terms of formatting things. You don't have to, and there's nothing wrong with them. You just might find them a bit easier to use. So if you're on a PC, you can do that through the Windows Microsoft Store. If you're on a mobile, you can look it up through either of the app stores. They're both free to use. And finally, number seven, obviously you get Microsoft Office free on PC through your school email, and then the Microsoft Office app itself, so that's Word, Excel, is all bundled together now in one free app, and again that's available through the App Store. Any more questions again, please feel free to ask. On the back of those, I've now attached two videos which hopefully, I know people obviously new software, hopefully will allow you to see how to do a couple of these things. So the first one here is just how to hand in through assignments on Teams, and number two is how to use the class notebook. So hopefully they answer some of your questions. Right, anyway, on to today's lesson. Just to recap the question from last time, so you had a 4-mark question which was to describe the location of China. 4 marks available. I would have given you marks for the following things, so it's an opportunity now to go back and mark your work. If you've done it on in your book, you can use pen or different coloured pencil to mark it. If it's on computer, same thing, just change the colour of the font, will be absolutely fine. So you get a mark if you mention that China is in the northern hemisphere, obviously north of the equator. You get a second mark if you said it's in the continent of Asia. You could have also said that there's an ocean border along the east coast, whereas to the north, the west and the south it is landlocked on 3 sides. Going on, it is northwest of Oceania, so referencing using compass directions another continent, northeast of Africa and east of Europe. So any of those would get you a 3rd mark for using compass directions to mention another continent. And finally, for the 4th mark, it's surrounded by a number of countries, including Mongolia to the north, Nepal and India to the south, and Japan to the east. So for that 4th mark, you need to mention, I would say, at least 2 other countries and the direction from which you would need to travel from China to get there. So that's your 4 marks for the question from last time. Anyway, moving on to today's lesson. What are the human and physical features of China? Part 2. So today we're going to look at describing where is China more specifically. We're going to look at some of the human and physical features within. And our skill sort of focus today is that we're going to kind of look at how to create a complex map and key. So, setting up today, there'll be a number of files attached. There'll be a choice of 3 maps. Now what you need to do is you need to decide which one you are going to use as your basis. So they are in terms of difficulty, so the higher the number, the greater the challenge, just by removing help that I've given you. So when you work today, you can either do it by digitally editing the Word document, which has the map on it. You could print out the map and draw them by hand, or alternatively you could just draw your own hand map. Any of those is absolutely fine. So what you need to do, first of all, go and choose which map you're going to use and how you're going to do it, and you can come back to the next slide. So pause it now while you grab that. And we're back. Right, first thing, so you've got your map. Now, depending on which difficulty you've picked, the first thing we'll need to do is to construct a key. Now, hopefully you've got some experience of having done this before, but if you can't remember, or you would like some ideas as to what sort of to pick for symbols for the capital city, cities, oceans, mountains and rivers, you can scroll ahead a little bit in the PowerPoint and have a look at slide 9. But what I'd like you to do now, please, is pause the video again and input a key. And then as soon as you've done that, we're ready for activity number 2. So, activity 2, using the following map below, or you can look on the internet, your choice, on the larger of the 2 maps that's on your Word document. What I'd like you to do, please, is to label, obviously, China itself and the surrounding countries. So that's only countries which directly border China, or, depending on which difficulty map challenge you've picked, the ones which are mentioned just underneath the map. So that is activity 2. So you can, again, pause the video now, make sure you spell them correctly, capital letters for names of countries, etc. So pause the video now. Okay. Task 3. Once you have a labelled large map with all the names of the surrounding countries around China, task 3, you now need to, using the internet or the specified slides as you'll see below, I'd like you to pick the following human and physical features around China and mark them on your smaller map, your zoomed in map that is just of China, not the surrounding countries. This is in the bottom corner of that same Word document. Okay, so now again you're going to have to potentially come up with a new, so you can see on the right hand side I've got my key icon there. You might use that, you might use your own, and hopefully you need to figure out obviously where each of these are, but also what type of feature they are in order to apply the correct icon from the key. So using either the slide mentioned there, which has various maps in this PowerPoint, or the internet, you need to find the location of each of the following features and mark them onto your map. If you've done that and you find that quite easy, as a challenge, you can find up to 5 others of your choice. So have a go, pause the video now and crack on with that. Okay, so here's one of the other maps that was mentioned that has far more detail, so you can use this if you're looking for some more options. And as we get towards the end today, it's a very quick 2.5 minute video. It just gives you a very quick summary of many of the typical Chinese related things. If you ever get the chance to visit China, you might well know. But this will just give you a very quick intro. You don't need to make notes here, it's completely optional. Okay, and then just to finish up, a couple of quick questions just to see what you can remember. So first one, numbers 1, 2 and 3, I've just simply written over the names of 3 countries. All I'd like you to do for number 1, 2 and 3 is tell me which country I've covered up the name of under each number. So pause the video now, have a go at those. And if you can you say if it's a human or a physical feature? Okay, second stage. Numbers 4, 5 and 6 now are not countries, they are specific places or features within China. The same concept, can you remember, without looking back at your map, what they were? And again, if you can you say if it's a human or a physical feature? Okay, answers. So number 1, China itself, which is a human feature being a country. Number 2 was India. 3 was North Korea, again all human features as countries. Number 4 was the Himalayas, or Mount Everest specifically, a physical feature. 5 was Beijing, capital city, a human feature. And number 6 was the Yellow Sea, a physical feature. So hopefully you got 6 out of 6 there. If not, have a check, see that you put them correctly on your map. Right, so once you've completed all that, absolutely smashed it, what I'd like you to do, this is a piece of work where when finished I'd like you to go into the class notebook within Teams or the OneNote app once you've clicked through it with Teams, and then either, depending on how you've done it, copy and paste your work or take a photo of your work and just insert the photo. Any of that is absolutely fine. So you just find your name section under class notes, give today's work a title and put it in there, and then I'll be able to see it and write on it where necessary. And then finally, unofficial piece of work. You don't need to hand this in or anything, but over the course of the next week or two, when you get a chance, Africa has 54 countries. Your challenge is to see, between you and your family, without looking up the answers, how many of them can you name? So 54 in total. That does plus or minus depending on the place you might go to describe them. But generally 54 is the given number of countries within Africa only. It's a lot of countries. How many between you and your family can you name? That is your weekly challenge. If you've got an answer to how many you get, then please just message me on Teams. Be interesting to see who can get the most. And then that is it for today. So please upload to Teams. If you're stuck, have a look at some of the videos I've linked. I have also linked them within Teams. And hopefully I will see you all very soon, ladies and gents. Stay safe.